Once again, there are reports coming to fore, and this is as per the international media reporting. It suggests that Trump administration is weighing a dramatic escalation in the Iran war. US officials say Washington is considering the seizure of Iran's critical oil depot on Kharg Island if oil tankers continue to be blocked in the Persian Gulf. And such a move would require US boots on ground, marking a major shift from airstrikes to a possible ground operation. Remember, Kharg Island is Iran's main oil export hub. It handles up to 90% of the country's crude shipments, and that's the reason why it's one of the most strategic energy targets in the region. And Donald Trump earlier said that he may continue to strike Kharg Island just for fun. Now, what we're given to understand, there could be boots on ground. This is what the international media is reporting. As far as Kharg Island is concerned, roughly 90% of Iran's crude oil exports move through a massive oil terminal on this island. And this is the heart of Iran's oil export system that came under attack earlier. Is Trump eyeing seizure of the oil facilities there, of the Kharg Island? There are reports about boots on ground. Let's also explain to you the strategic importance of Kharg Island. Like I said, it handles 90% of the crude import, 15 nautical miles off the Iranian coast. This is the Kharg Island, which is the heart of Iran's oil import. Now, the Kharg Island was hit by United States of America. According to reports coming in, looks like US is planning to completely seize Kharg Island, but for that they would require boots on ground. Till now, it's the airstrikes that have been resorted to by America, by Israel, and by Iran as well. Although Israel has launched a very limited ground operation, that too in South Lebanon. But if US plans to seize Kharg Island, they would need to send their soldiers. They would need to have boots on ground. This is the Strait of Hormuz, that's Kharg Island. All the imports, of course, pass through the Strait of Hormuz that then connects the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea as well. Given the strategic importance and the fact that it is the lifeline of Iran, it is extremely important, to understand that any single move by United States could then lead to a dramatic escalation in this war between US, Israel and Iran. And Mayank also continues to be with us on the broadcast. We have Srinjoy Chaudhary joining us as well. Srinjoy, we've spoken about the strategic importance of Kharg Island. Now, this is what the international media is reporting. As per them, the Trump administration is weighing a dramatic escalation that they may have boots on ground. They're planning a complete seizure of Iran's critical oil depot, the lifeline of Iran, the Kharg Island.
Yes, there were two or three things that the Americans were thinking of as far as putting boots on the ground were concerned. One was to ensure that the Iranian nuclear uranium deposits were seized. Now, how they would do that, of course, was open to question. The second option was getting hold of the coastline of and then the Straits of Hormuz would be in good shape. The third is Kharg Island. Now, if they take Kharg Island, if there are boots on the ground in Kharg Island, it would be easier because it's outside the Iranian mainland. So if that is so, it would be easier to hold on to and an easier operation. Well, all three are possible. These are all being discussed by Pentagon, by the Trump administration. So whether they go ahead and whether which one it will be,
right,
we don't know as yet. But
Trump
yes,
is weighing ground operation. If the Strait of Hormuz remains to be closed, then this might be their next action. Let me bring in strategic affairs expert Sushant Sareen as well. What do you think? This is what the international media is reporting at the moment. Trump administration eyeing the Kharg Island, but that would require boots on ground.
Yeah, but boots on ground on the Kharg Island is not the same thing as boots on ground in mainland Iran. And I think that's the big difference. If anybody, generally when people talk about boots on ground, they talk about a ground invasion. Kharg Island is like almost 20 kilometers from the mainland of Iran. Yes, it's a very, very critical piece of territory for Iran because like the bulk of its oil is exported from that, but it's 25 kilometers away and it's not such a big territory for which you need to put in thousands and thousands of soldiers. It is something that can easily be occupied. And in terms of squeezing Iran, because Iran is squeezing the rest of the global economy by blocking the Strait of Hormuz. So the American plan seems to be that, if economic warfare can be done by one side, the similar kind of economic warfare or economic squeeze can be put on the other side. But a lot of Iranian oil is also exported via pipelines towards China further up north. And I don't know if the Americans are planning to do anything to disrupt that flow. But I think this is, in this escalation ladder, this is the next stage where you are saying, okay, fine, now we are going to squeeze you on your economic dimensions or on your economic side and make sure that your problems continue to increase. The monies that were flowing into you are not going to flow in anymore. The other Gulf countries are probably better placed to handle that economic squeeze. Maybe Iran is not. So I think that's the calculation. So yes, in the escalation ladder, this is the next stage. But technically, this is not boots on the ground in the way boots on the ground is generally imagined.
All right. Mr. Sareen, thank you very much for speaking with us. Let me go across to some breaking inputs coming in on the broadcast. Now,